Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a nice warm welcome to the host of the VRChat talk show, Headspace, Sir Philo.
Hello. My name is Sir Philo, and you're watching the first ever episode of the new VRChat talk show, Headspace. Now, this show is all about talking to everyday people, hopping from world to world, see who's willing to do an interview, because everybody is just as important as everybody else, and everybody gets an equal shot. Well, that and I choose. This week, I'm talking to 3 people about a little bit of music, seeing what they like, what kind of genres there are, and then we're going to stop and do a section called Think Tank, which hopefully you all enjoy. Afterwards, we're going to finish off the interview with a little bit of talk about VR and what that means to us. And the show will be over. Nice and simple. So, not time to dilly-dally anymore. Tune in, hopefully, every week on Friday at roughly 6 o'clock or 8 p.m. And we'll have a brand new show of Headspace. But enough of that. Let's get into the show.
And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. Introducing the show, Headspace.
Hello everybody, welcome to the first ever episode of Headspace, a talk show right here in our own VRChat, where everybody is welcome. And today, to start off the very first episode of Headspace Talk Show, I have 3 very special guests who have agreed to come on the show for the very first time. And that's a great thing, because there's only ever going to be one first time. So go ahead, introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'm Vika. I've been in VRChat for quite a few months, since January. I don't really do anything. I just kind of play around and I hang out with people, mainly Grim.
I'm Grim. I go to school. I'm 17. I play a lot of games, mainly with Vika, and that's about it.
I'm Eukaria. I'm 21 years old. I work at a bowling alley. I've been playing VRChat for about four years almost. I like making music.
Really? Well, seems like we got ourselves a nice, interesting cast of people here. And you know, I gotta say, thanks again for deciding to come on the show. It's really nice of you guys. So first things first, I want to get to know all 3 of you a little bit better. I know you did a little bit of self-introduction, and before the show started, you talked with me a little bit about yourselves. But let's go through what's some of you guys' hobbies. I already know Yuki Rai here likes to make music, but what about you guys? You draw,
I do a little bit of drawing. I used to do traditional, just paper and pencil, but I started moving on to digital after I saw some videos and inspiration, and it made me want to start. I used to be into music as well. I have a guitar. I don't play much anymore. And as I mentioned earlier, I do modeling, like I'm practicing with avatars and I'm doing worlds and all that.
Interesting, very interesting. Grim?
I play a lot of games. I've recently picked up song lyric writing. I don't know if I'll ever make actual music, but I've wanted to start making lyrics and potentially go into music in the future. I want to learn guitar, like Vika, and that's about it for me.
And Yuki, I understand you already make music. Are you in the process of doing it, or
Yep.
are you just kind of in the beginning production stages?
So I've been working on making my own produced. I've been producing my own music since about the beginning of this year. Currently, I'm in the process of making my own 4-track EP that I want to produce and have released next year. Kind of my own self-produced artist. You know, I make all the instrumentals myself. At the moment, I'm the only one that does the lyrics. I'm the only one who makes any of the sounds, basically, for my music.
So a
But
one-man
yeah,
band, huh?
pretty much.
You know, that's not bad. You know, it takes a lot to be full 100% all on your own. What kind of genre is it? Metal? You know?
I'm currently in the process of working on the new metal genre, which was introduced in the early to mid 90s with artists like Ice Cube and Limp Bizkit, and later on Linkin Park. And I'm kind of going more towards the style of Linkin Park, where it's more of that dark and gritty, but also very bouncy at the same time,
Yeah, kind of like
with the really high
exasperated
highs and the
tones.
nice
Yeah.
rap. Right, yeah. So I've been a fan of Linkin Park since I was probably about 5 years old, so about 2005. I just followed up with them through the years until their band parted after Chester Bennington's death. But they really inspired me to start working on my own music.
Yeah, I mean, we all have an inspiration starting from somewhere, and it's nice to see that something's starting from such early on. You know, it's always a common story that, oh, I started liking this when I was a kid, and now I want to continue on with it. But you're actually doing it. You're part of that story, and even if it's a cliche, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Grim, what about you? Why did you start writing music, or what genre do you do?
I do kind of like a pop, hip hop kind. I kind of got inspiration from like Sad Eyes, Powfu. There's two really like not very known artists I listen to also, Josh A and I Am Jake Hill. They're all amazing artists and has inspired me and got me through a lot of rough times in my life. So, you know, just I randomly picked it up recently because of some stuff, and it just kind of helps, like, with kind of like venting, I guess. It's just kind of a cool thing to do.
Yeah, like as most artists, I would say, if you can agree with me or not, it's a creative outlet. You know, we use it to vent our feelings or describe something, storytell. It can be pretty much anything you want it to be. I think that's a really nice way of thinking about music and music creation. Vika, I understand you don't write your own stuff, but you've been learning the guitar. Did you learn any cool songs, or was there any certain cover you like to play all the time?
No, sadly, I never committed myself to a specific song. I've always had a little bit of trouble with sticking to one thing, but I did learn some just tunes or some pieces from music that I liked or listened to, you know? I had taken choir for 3 years, and then I took guitar, like official classes for one. And I feel like just, I don't know, ever since I was little, I was interested in music, and I just started to grow out of it. And like I said, grow into more like digital stuff with working in models and things 3D.
Yeah, so it started more leaning towards the artistic creativity sort of, you know, pathway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's great. All right, now I want to ask a question. So, two of you are doing writing and music, and then one of you dabbled in it a little bit, but has more of a creative, appeal to things. So I want to ask, what's your guys' favorite genre, and not the one you write in? And then why is that one your favorite? Vika, you go ahead first.
I would have to say my favorite genre of music is lo-fi. I've been getting into lo-fi after I stopped practicing with music, and usually I would do pop or rock or stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel like it has more of a calming like vibe to it, you know?
Yeah, the background noise type music. I understand. Grim?
I have many different like variations of music I listen to, or like genres. My playlist is crazy with the variations. But I have to say, besides pop and hip hop, I like rock and a little bit of metal. Not like heavy metal, but like kind of like in the middle. I don't like screamo or like stuff like that.
Yeah, so like certain subgenres inside of the overall blanket of metal.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yuki?
There's a very specific type of trap music that I really like. I don't exactly know if there's a proper name for it, but I'll name off a couple artists such as Sky Pierre or Cosmic or MCTR. It's very, very 808 and bass heavy, and I'm into 808s and bass. It actually boosts my serotonin levels through the roof, and I get really, really happy when I listen to it.
Yeah.
It makes me want to like dance and do stuff like that. Yeah.
That's how I feel about disco, and more of like the techno Daft Punk, because it's also a lot of 808 and bass heavy stuff.
Mhm.
For me personally, I think my favorite genre is just older music in general, right? Like everything from 70s to 90s, it's all my favorites. I love disco, techno, old rock, classic rock. It's all my favorite. But of course, my number one all-time band is Queen, simply because Freddie Mercury. He was one of my idols. Maybe not of how he acted outside of music production, but in the terms of music production, he's one of the greats, I think, at least. All right, so now that I know that, it's time for a different question. So, in the terms of music, why do you think people create music? I know I said earlier that the answer was it's a creative outlet. But what else? Any of you can take this first.
I'll go
I
first.
feel like the
No, I'm going to. I think some people use it to write for like people they care about, like, and try and like express feelings out of like an emotional outlet. But like, I think a lot of people also do it to like, I don't know. For me, I vent with it, but I think some other people do it because they have fun doing it, or like they're in a band and they have friends and they like doing it with their friends. That's all I got.
I feel like with the creation of music, sometimes, and this is the reason why I got into it a little bit, there's just not the right words for the things that you want to express, you know? And sometimes, like, just as silly as it sounds, a melody can go a really far away. I think that it gave me something to want to prove, you know, to give people or to make other people happy when I was playing music, playing the kind of music that I personally liked.
That's okay. Go ahead. Start.
Oh, I got nothing else.
That's fine.
I feel like music is kind of its own thing. There's nothing else that's like music. You can have things like movies. Movies are cool. Art is cool, but music speaks levels in ways that I don't think any of those others can. Like they were saying, it can be on an emotional outlet. It can be on just you wanting to have fun and express like your happiness. It is a very emotional thing, and I don't feel like there's anything out there that can express that much emotion like music can, because it can bring people up, but it can also take people down when they listen to it.
Yeah, I really like that answer. So, I would think that music is almost a universal language, right? Because there is songs that have actual language in it, and if you didn't understand it, you wouldn't really get it. But I think tone and expression can be heard through anything, right? Everyone knows a sad melody when they hear it, right? It's a very emotional type of thing that we experience with music. It's also a very communal thing. You know, it brings a lot of people together, because I think that in certain situations, for example, a very specific one would be sad music. A lot of people can generally listen to sad music and understand because either they experienced it themselves or somebody close to them did. It's a feeling of understanding. You think that's right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys think that the music is separated from the artist, or is the artist and the music one and the same?
One of the
Personally,
same.
I would say separate, because I feel like, you know, there's, even besides what we expressed, there's a ton of other reasons that some people could create music, because not all people's hobbies are just based off of doing what they love, sadly, and it's more off of what you're talented in, because it's the real world, you know. You can't always do exactly what you love, even if you really wanted to. And even beside that, I feel like a person's music is different from who they are, you know, because there's a different side to it, you know. There's a whole different side to what they're saying or what they're singing based off of, or like related to how they act, you know, like how you mentioned the Queen, and you were mentioning that you liked him, the person you brought up. I'm sorry, I'm not good with the Queens, but
Is Freddie Mercury.
the person that you brought up, yeah, Freddie Mercury. You said that you liked him music-wise, but even though he had done some stuff outside of that industry, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's separate.
No, yeah, it's perfectly fine to have that opinion. It's not necessarily wrong. And I agree with you. Graham?
Oh, sorry. I said they're like one of the same in a way because like I'm leaning on both one of the same and separate, because like I'd say one of the same because obviously they're making the music because of a reason. They want to, and they're doing it for a reason, for someone, for something. And but like what Vika said, separate. People can't always do what they want or what they love. That's all I got.
I feel like it kind of depends on the artist or the musician that's making their music and how they like to play their character, whether they want to be as realistic as possible. Hey, I'm this person, the person that I make in this music. Yes, this is the exact same person that I am in real life. Or they do it just to be like, they show themselves as a good person in their music, but in the real world, they're a completely different person. It really depends on the person's character. That's the same with acting. And yeah, I would say it just really depends on the person.
Yeah. You know, I think a good example of that is like people like Daft Punk or Marshmello. They are characters. Daft Punk, we've never really seen their faces before. Even if we search really far back, yeah, we can know what they look like. But in most of their entire career, we've always known them as the black sheen and then the silver robotic faces, because they didn't want to show their faces because they're shy guys. And they gained all this fame, all this success. Everyone knows who Daft Punk is. But nobody really knows who's behind Daft Punk, those two French guys. And I think that really says a lot about who they were as people and why they created music. They did it because, well, first they started out in the underground stage, and then they kind of moved forward as time went on. And then as they did that, they gained that fame. And they wanted to write stuff that I would like to think is mostly happy experiences or storytelling. And they did all that. And so I think that at that point, we can separate them from their music, because the two French guys are not Daft Punk. The two robots are Daft Punk. And so they're separated, but they're the ones that created it, right? If they didn't exist, they could not have created the music. So, but I think there's a little bit of a separation there, because You can see their personality coming from the music, but when they're doing the music and as the person, it's a little bit different. But of course, like you said, if it was just a plain old artist, right, not having a mask or anything, right, like I don't know, Ed Sheeran, right, he's talking about his experiences, his music, and he plays himself. There's no separation, because it's his music, he's what he wants to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like telling a story in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think that's a good place to stop for our break. And when we come back, we can start off with a brand new topic and finish off strong. But this break is no ordinary commercial break. See, we're going to do this talk show a little bit different. And I'll introduce it to you right after this transition. So, I'll see you all when the break happens again. Bye-bye for now. Hey, welcome back to the curtain again. So, this is Think Tank, where I'm gonna go to random worlds, ask random people who knows what. It's a random question I choose every week. This week's question is a hot dog, a taco, or a sandwich? Let's head in some worlds and find out.
Is a hot dog, a taco, or a sandwich? I'll tell you what it is. It's sustenance. It gives me fuel. Like these pancakes. These pancakes are fuel. Look at them.
Bitch,
They
where I
got
live.
2 banana
How are
slices
these
on them.
tacos?
These aren't tacos, these are pancakes.
Boomerang attack.
Taco, definitely. I like tacos.
Yeah, taco. I like tacos
Yeah.
too. I
You
live
know,
in freaking.
tacos.
I live in Taco Central, so it's just a little. I mean, taco.
I'd have to agree. A hot dog is a taco. You see, you have the bun, which is basically one piece, surrounding fragments or a piece of meat. So it's a taco.
But at the same time, tacos. Wait. Whoa. Hold on. Wait, but sandwiches, they're with bread, and hot dogs.
Yeah, they're with bread,
the
but
bun-
here's the thing.
but the
You
bun-
get
the
two
bun-
separate slices of bread on the outside, right? A hot
I'm
dog
gonna-
has a bun that simply opens up, but it's still in one piece. You put the hot dog inside, and then you close
about a
it.
corn
So
dog?
it should be a... You made my brain hurt.
Oh, no, I didn't-
What is a corn dog?
What is a corn dog?
Well, I'd
It's
say
like-
taco. I'd say taco.
Hello, welcome back from our break. That was our section Think Tank. But now, let's get back into our guests. So, we had a very interesting conversation about music earlier, and I really appreciate all of your guys' opinions on it. But now, I want to talk about something a little bit different. So all of us right now are experiencing what I'd like to think is a technological miracle. Right? There's no way 20 years ago I could be sitting here next to 3 people who I've never met before, all wearing a box on our heads on a fake talk show set, talking to each other. It just wasn't a thing that we could think about. But now VR is slowly becoming something that we see more and more often, and as it keeps on progressing and it keeps getting better, we're going to have more experiences like this. So what I want to ask you guys is, first off, how did all of you get into VR? You know, how did you get your machines? What did you do? Vika?
My PC, my old PC at the time, and I downloaded VR. And I noticed you could play that with VR too, and I was like, okay, that's just another reason. All of that.
Well, it's in the name.
Originally, I didn't get a VR. Yeah, I'm just a little slow, but I just
No, go ahead.
I originally didn't end up getting that VR for a good year or so because they just it wasn't, you know, it wasn't in the cards. Then someone gave one to me. They passed it down because it was a little bit broken. I fixed it. It had a little bit of water damages, and I started using it. Started linking it up to a PC as well because I got more and more into it, and then I would withdraw and get more and more into it. And now's one of those moments where I'm kind of just getting into VR again, getting used to playing it again and being around people and all of that.
So essentially, you're a tech genius now. You now know how to do everything with VR.
Yeah, somewhat.
So, okay, let me get this straight. Someone just gave one to you, right? Now, granted, you say it had water damage, but
Yeah.
that's pretty lucky to just get one.
It was a family member, so it was just
okay.
they got a new one, and then they gave me their old one because of damages, and I fixed it.
What system is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Oculus. It's a Quest. It's a Quest.
But it's like the first one, not the second one.
It's the second.
Oh, really? All right then. Grim?
So I was like Vika, I was seeing it a lot on social media, and then after like a year passed of like me wanting it and I didn't have the money to get it, a lot of friends and my girlfriend at the time wanted me to get one, so I just decided to save up the money and get it, and like it was just fun. I was with Yuki for the first time I was ever in it, and like I don't really know what else to say.
No, that's
That's
fine.
all I have.
That's all it has to be. If that's all there is, then that's all there is. Yuki?
Okay. So I got into, like I said at the very beginning, I've been playing VRChat for about 4 years, since about 2017. I got I kind of just found it on Steam one day when I was just, on my laptop, and I started playing a little bit, and I thought it was pretty alright. And I lost that account. That's an old account. I don't even remember the name of it. I'm on my third account now. But in, I want to say mid 2018, my girlfriend at the time, she had started playing VRChat. She was playing with a lot of her friends, and she wanted me to join her, and so I joined up with her. We were both on desktop, and I decided for Christmas that year I was going to buy her an Oculus Rift CV1, and that was the most expensive gift I'd ever bought anybody. So she started playing that in VR, and I was still on desktop, and one day I just decided, you know what, I'm going to buy myself an Oculus Rift. And so I bought my own Rift, and from there I went from a Rift to a Vive, which is what I'm using now. I have a Quest 2. I have full body. It's just kind of a hill, just a roller coaster that you start going down once you get into it.
As people say, diving in the rabbit hole kind of thing.
Exactly, yep.
And you mentioned full body tracking. How's that been like? Have you noticed anybody treat you differently, right? Like treat you like royalty or a higher class because you can afford full body tracking?
No, I see more trolls than anything else. Saying, oh, you spent all your money doing this and could have bought a new car or something like that, It's just, throwing money away, essentially. But the full body tracking helps with immersion. I remember when I first got it, I wouldn't stop using it, and I still don't like not using it because it takes away my immersion. And I'm not someone who real easily gets immersed in things.
Yeah, I mean, exactly like you said, we all have reasons for why we do things, and this is no different, pretty much. And I would agree with you.
Mhm.
I think if all of us had at least a little bit of full body tracking, I think we could all get really immersed into it. You know, being able to physically
Right.
squat down, and seeing your legs, kind of like Boneworks. Boneworks did it really well. Being able to see your body right before
Mhm.
VRChat started becoming more like the mainstream type of thing. And I remember VRChat was very rough in that beginning stages of like 2017 through 2018.
It's very true.
But hey, look at where we are now, right? It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than what it used to be.
Hmm.
So, Grim, so you said you experienced your first time with VR with Yuki here, right?
Yeah.
So you guys know each other pretty well?
Yeah, it's been almost a year, or it might have been a little bit over a year now since I met him.
That's nice. That's nice.
We met in a VRChat streamers server, actually.
Really?
Yeah, a crackle. Old lobster boy.
Yep.
Some of the simplest friendships come out of the simplest things.
It's true.
What about you and Vika? Where'd you guys meet?
We met here in VR. I was being my shy mute self in Black Hat, and she was with her stepsister, and they were just sitting in the upstairs mirror, and her sister left to go downstairs in the Black Hat, and she just was talking to me, and I was just being quiet, and then we just got on Discord, talked on Discord, and I got comfortable enough with her to talk with her actually in VR, and then a little bit later we started dating, and now we're here.
That's a nice story. That really is kind of not as a whole, but I think it encompasses what VRChat can be in a very good sense. You were really shy, you didn't want to break out of your shell, but somebody was able to break it for you, and now look at where you are. It's a very social platform dependent on people. What do you guys think about VRChat? Do you think it helps people more than it hurts them, or do people use it to get better with social skills?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like VRChat's it's starting to get more and more popular over the years that it's published. And just the people that are joining, there's gonna be a ton of amazing people you're gonna meet on VRChat. So much fun, but at the same time, you begin to notice that there's so many ups and downs to those people, even if you really do think they're good people, and as there is with many of other people on different platforms on the internet, there's always going to be an up and a down. Like, you notice some people have very short attention spans, or they can't commit themselves to a friendship or a relationship that you would have on there. Which is, of course, why it's nice to do things in real life and to get out there. You can't forget to do that, even if you do have one on VR. At the same time, I can also say that it helped me personally learn more about people, learn how to interact with people, treat people better, start to speak up for myself in a sense,
Yeah, it's all about, would you say it's about like just normal moderation? You don't want to spend too much time in VR, but you also don't want to spend all your time, on other things as well. What do you think, Yugi?
I think VRChat is definitely interesting, that's for sure. I'm a very normally antisocial person. I'm not very talkative, unless I'm talking technical. But VRChat it's been a helping hand, and it also hurt me in many ways over the years. friendships come and go, sometimes faster than they sometimes faster leave than they, come. And so while it's helped me become more social, it kind of also closed me off to wanting to be more social. And that's just kind of how life is sometimes goes for some people. Some traumatic experience hurts them, and they may continue to do the same things, or I just lost my train of thought. They kind of damn it.
That's all right.
Wow.
It's the paper bag. It's distracting him.
It's the paper bag, it's distracting me.
Paper bag.
This one.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Like, I had a whole thing in my mind and it all just
That's fine.
flat.
So basically what you're saying is that it's both a positive and negative thing overall. Right? And it's helped
Right,
you
yep.
and it's hurt you. Right? Exactly like you said.
Yep.
If I can point something out here, I noticed that all three of you that you stated yourselves, a little bit shy, a little bit introverted. I think that's pretty much a large sum of people that you're going to meet on here, because you just have to face the facts. Typically, people that are more introverted or shy or tech savvy, they're going to get introduced to VR faster than other people, because when you play video games, of course you're going to want to know as many things as possible about video games. And then once VR started happening, people started learning about it, and then VRChat, it's just a natural progression of things. I would say that VRChat has helped people. It's helped people in a more positive way than negative way. Yes, there are negative things that happen to people that basically ditch their whole lives and basically become like Japanese hikikomori, but in VRChat. But then there's also people that it helps them break out their shell and talk to people, because there's the whole anonymous thing, and that you can be whoever you want to be. And I think that even though that there's extremes, like I said, on a baseline, I believe that it's helping people more so than others, because it's a very niche thing so far. Like I said in the beginning, it's not that mainstream, but I think as it gets more mainstream, the people who have had VR for the longest time, which has been introverted people, it's helped them, I think, gain the skills that they need to that way when, let's say, excuse my 4chan language, if you will, the normies breach into VRChat, it'll have the proper skills, and maybe there can be some positive mingling instead of always having to be negative.
Yeah, of course, because it's always going to be easier for people to talk through screen, knowing that there's not actually someone there. And I've met so many people who have been shy or introverted, just somewhat like I am, that have learned to open themselves up, and I've seen that happen to them, and it's an amazing experience.
Yeah, just like all three of you deciding to come onto the show. That's not just something that you can just blindly agree to. It's something that takes a little bit of courage. Even if it's not a lot, or it is a lot, it still took some. And I think that's important, because it allows us to, I think, safely break out of our shells. Because there's always the mighty button, which is blocking somebody.
It's true.
Well, this has been a really good chat, but we are reaching our time limit here. So I would like to thank everybody for tuning into this episode of Headspace, and hopefully we can have just as good guests as I had here as we continue on. So hope to see a new episode every Friday. My name is Sir Philo, and this has been Headspace. Please talk about how wonderful my guests were, because they were a really good help in starting this whole thing off. And I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody, and good night. So, what's something that you want to say to the audience before you go?
Follow your dreams. Don't do what other people want you to do. If you have something that you want to do, go out and do it. Don't let anyone else get in the way and try to force you to do what they want you to do.
Oh yeah, do you want to plug your music?
Yeah, I'll plug my music. My YouTube is called Dilent, Dilkant. I make new metal music, and I'm hoping to have an EP out next year.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my mom and my friends and my girlfriend. Stay in school, stay in school, kids. Wow, I'm so great.
It falls apart, it's not hard to be